All right, let's get into one of the most powerful books you'll ever come across, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. We're going to break down the incredible story of a psychiatrist who survived the absolute unthinkable and came out with this amazing philosophy about how to find purpose even when things feel completely hopeless. Frankl often started with this quote from Nietzsche because, really, it's the key that unlocks everything he's about to say. What is it that gives a person the strength to keep going? Frankl's whole life became a testament to the idea that this why isn't some nice to have, it's a basic human need. And wow, was his theory put to the ultimate test. So, to really get Frankl's philosophy, you have to start with his story. We're talking about Dr. Viktor Frankl, a successful psychiatrist in Vienna. And then his life and the lives of millions of others was just plunged into the nightmare of the Nazi concentration camps. As soon as he arrived at Auschwitz, Frankl says everything was just stripped away. I mean, everything. His clothes, his wedding ring, his manuscript, his life's work, even his name. He was no longer Dr. Frankl. He was prisoner number 119104. This was all part of a deliberate process to completely dehumanize people, to reduce them to what he called naked existence. Now, being a psychiatrist, Frankl couldn't turn off his brain. He was observing himself and others, and he noticed this pattern. A psychological journey in 3 phases. First, there was just pure shock, disbelief. Then that shock gave way to a deep, deep apathy, a kind of emotional death you needed just to survive the day-to-day horror. And finally, for the very few who made it out, there was the strange and difficult experience of liberation. But right there, in the middle of all that suffering and horror, something incredible happened. Frankl had a realization, a breakthrough that would change everything for him and become the foundation for his entire life's work. This is it. This is the core idea. He realized that they could take his home, his family, his health, his name. They could take literally everything from him. But there was one thing, one single thing, they could never, ever take away: his inner freedom to choose how he responded to it all. And this wasn't just some abstract thought, He saw it with his own eyes. He saw men walking through the huts, comforting others, giving away their last tiny piece of bread. These small acts of kindness and dignity were proof, absolute proof, that you could find a way to be worthy of your suffering. So this life-changing discovery he made in the camps, it didn't just stay a personal insight. He took this raw, powerful experience and built an entire school of psychotherapy from it. He called it logotherapy. That word, logos, is Greek for meaning. And what's so different about it is that it's not focused on digging around in your past. It's about looking forward. It's a therapy designed to help you find and fulfill the meanings that are waiting for you in your future. To really see how revolutionary this was, you have to put it in context. At the time, you had Freud, who said our primary drive is the will to pleasure. Then you had Adler, who said it was the will to power. Frankl comes along, having been through what he'd been through, and says, no, you're both missing the point. The most fundamental human drive is our will to find meaning. Okay, so, a will to meaning. That sounds great, right? But how do you actually do that? How do we find meaning in our regular, everyday lives? Well, Frankl made it super practical. He said there are basically 3 ways. First, through creating something or doing a deed, contributing to the world. Second, by experiencing something beautiful, or most importantly, by truly loving another person. And third, and this is the one that's so unique to Frankl, by the attitude we choose to take when we're faced with suffering that we simply cannot escape. And that third path is just so powerful. His point was, look, we should always try to remove suffering if we can, but when we can't, when it's unavoidable, that suffering actually presents us with an opportunity. The way we face it, the courage we show, that can turn a personal tragedy into a kind of triumph. So all of this, it all builds up to his ultimate philosophy for how to live. It's a really powerful idea he called tragic optimism. Frankl was a realist. He knew life has what he called a tragic triad. Pain is unavoidable, we all have to deal with guilt, and, of course, death is inevitable. Tragic optimism isn't about pretending those things don't exist. It's about having the courage to say yes to life in spite of them. And this whole way of thinking, it leads us to a final, really thought-provoking question. In our society, we talk so much about freedom. But is that really the whole story? For Frankl, the answer was a clear no. He believed freedom is only half the picture. It's in danger of just becoming random and meaningless unless it's paired with its other half, responsibility. He even joked that the Statue of Liberty on the East Coast should be balanced by a Statue of Responsibility on the West Coast. And that's a powerful thought to leave you with. What responsibility does our freedom ask of us?